Hello and welcome. You're watching Business Today TV. I'm Sakshi Batra, and with me on this show I have somebody very, very special joining right in. Professor V Raghunathan joins in. He's an academic, an economist, and also an author of more than a dozen books. Thank you so much for being with us on this show. You have thoroughly talked about economy all through your large part of your career. Let me begin by understanding from you. India just celebrated 75 years of its independence. We are now looking at the next 25 years as the Amrit Kal. Looking at India at 100 years as well. How do you really see or gauge the Indian economy right now, the state of it, and where do we go from here?
Well, thank you very much for having me here. I think India has come a long way. Obviously, when we got our independence, we had nothing. We were a bankrupt country. From there to be where we are today is indeed a very, very significant achievement by any reckoning. It's a different matter that if we put our benchmark higher, we can say that, oh, we could have done so much more because our potential is so much more.
Yes.
You know, so many of the multinationals have Indian CEOs. Now, surely the same talent exists at home too. So why couldn't we have done economically at least what China has done? You know, today, actually China and India are in two very different leagues. Okay. And you can't chalk up all their successes to the autocracy account and all our failures to the democracy account.
Okay.
From that viewpoint, today, India, even though it stands very, very well ahead of where we started, much of our achievements that we talk about are in absolute numbers, not in per capita terms. You know, per capita, if you look at today, 68% of Indians earn less than $2 a day. More than about 30% of Indians earn less than $1 a day. 20 individuals in India account for 10% of India's GDP.
Yeah.
If statistics are this bad, I think we are congratulating ourselves a little too much for overtaking UK, whose population is that of Karnataka state, which is about 6.5 crore, give or take. And to overtake their GDP in absolute terms is not something to be jumping about when our population is 140 crore.
So essentially, sir, I wanted to understand, you know, India pipping the UK to become the 5th largest economy statistically is very good. By the numbers, it's very good. But on ground situation is different.
And per capita basis, you see, with our population, any statistics you take, number of lawyers, number of doctors, number of engineers, number of plumbers, number of policemen, anything at all, even on the negative side, the number of murderers, the number of rapists, all of them will be among the highest in the world. For the simple reason, we are a very big population. So, therefore, anything where we talk about large statistics of a country the size of India, only the per capita statistics makes it comparable, not absolute statistics.
Right. Also wanted to understand, so what else does India need to do, or Indian economy will have to do or grow at to be able to really be seen as something that changes on ground situation as well over the next 25 years?
I think a lot is already being done.
Okay.
The Prime Minister has made a lot of right initiatives when he talks about Make in India or, giving fillip to quality and self-reliance and messages of those kinds.
Yeah.
I think these are all right messages. Our problem is what we do on the ground on these is relatively much less than the sound bites that we get on it. Okay. So that all the sound bites are right, but they are not getting translated on the ground as much as it should be for India to leapfrog to the next level. Right. Otherwise, in 75 years, if this is where we are, where we said 68% earn less than $2 a day, I am not terribly optimistic even after 100 years.
Okay.
Okay. So that optimism has to be converted as action on the ground, without which it will, everybody can talk about 25 years later, because who's going to be there answering the question, especially people of our age. 25 years later, we aren't going to be around physically, leave alone conceptually, to be answerable to a 25-year-old question or prediction that I made. Anybody can make predictions 30 years hence. So who's there to account for it? Right. And I think that is where we need action on the ground. We have to come down hard on corruption. This government came to power on the ticket of corruption. Yes. We haven't done electoral reform sufficiently. This electoral bonds have not helped the cause of transparency of political funding. So there are issues. So unless we start from there, we can't bell this corruption cat. And if you can't bell the corruption cat, everything down there is very difficult to move.
Right. So one challenge is corruption, which we need to tame right now. Which are the other challenges that we need to overcome to actually...
Judiciary is the next. Okay. A judiciary which does not deliver justice in 20 years on average, which has 4.5 crore cases pending in the governments. And it is very obvious that justice is available only to the rich and powerful, not to the common folks.
Right. But do you still believe that India would at least be a bright spot looking at how there is a challenge and a fear of globally US and Europe kind of countries, slipping into recession in 2023, looking in the current spot, while Indian Finance Minister has talked about that there are no chances of recession right here. What according to you could be the impact if globally we see a recession in 2023?
I do see India in many ways more secluded or more disconnected from the world economy. Just as in 2008 also, we were not so badly hit, nor in 1987, nor in 1997 when the entire Far Eastern economies were bundling up. So I think India in many ways as a diverse country is like a mini world. It's a miniature world in a way. So the benefit of diversification for us, even in economic terms, is significant. The economy of the bottom of India is not the same as the economy for the top of India, for instance. They work very differently. You can carve out a whole France out of Indian top. So I think those are the kinds of challenges that we have.
Right. We were talking about this K-shaped economy all along. Do you see that changing going forward? Does the lower strata of the economy also get benefited over the next few years or next 25 years?
Yes, technology can do that. If we, like in railway reservation, we saw a lot of that. Okay. In vaccination during COVID, we saw a lot of that benefit. But if we can do that in a whole lot of other areas, including judiciary, especially for getting routine bails or routine FIRs filed and so on, we can empower people a lot more. Land registration, if it can be completely automated, where we don't have to, because that is one big, elephant in the room that we refuse to see.
Okay, thank you so much, Professor, for being with us and sharing all these insights. Great speaking with you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
If you like the video, do like, comment, share and subscribe.